Welcome back to the River City Roundup, everybody. We're here at Jefferson's. We thank Jefferson's for having us here for we're in the third week of playoffs. So it's been about 3 months here we've been at Jefferson's. We'd like to again thank Jefferson's for everything they've done for us, especially for the drinks. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with that. We also like to thank Fame Media as well. They've been helping us the entire year, getting our highlight tapes, other players' highlight tapes together, a reel for our show. We'd like to thank them for that as well. Guys, happy Veterans Day, everybody. Let's just go say happy Veterans Day. We have the helmet up here and everything like that. We wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for the sacrifice these men made. Let's just all admit that right now.
That's true fact.
It's true fact. But we got a great show. Back to the show. Sure. I'm Chris Birmingham this right now. So back to the show. We've got a great show lined up. We're going to have our recap of our scores last week. We're also going to have the new divisions, the new districts now have been released. There's been some shockingly easy ones, and then there's the ridiculous one of 6A1. My old alumni is in it, and I'm scared for them. But then we're also going to have our surprises of the year. We're going to have our top 5 teams going into the next 5 years, and then we'll have my favorite part of the show, the pickups, guys. And I'm telling you, week 13, Ryan, what's the season been like so far for you?
Unpredictable. I think that's the best word you can say. Everything that we thought going into this season has been thoroughly proven wrong, and it's still getting proven wrong every week. I can't keep up with it. Can you guys?
John, what do you think, buddy?
It's truly unpredictable. Who would have thought that Bradley Central would have put 47 points on Science Hill last Friday, or a Ray County team would have been able to pull away as far as they did against a Tullahoma team that's a little bit beaten up. But then again, you have a lot of teams that got in the playoffs the first time in 10 years, decades, teams that are making multiple playoff games for the first time in 20 years. I mean, it's amazing to think of how unpredictable one season can go from a 2013 season to now to a 2014 season, and the develop of depth and coaches in the area. But Taylor, what has been your underlying theme of this season?
The biggest thing for me this season is basically I can pick a team to win, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to happen. This season has been ups and downs, throwing me curveballs all over the place, and it's that being said, it has been one of the most entertaining seasons I've got to watch of high school football in the area, but it is just a crapshoot when it comes to picking who can win these games here. So.
You heard it here first. Crapshoot. 2 words to describe this season. But when we come back, we'll have our recap of last week, have some games that surprised us and some games that we saw coming. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the Roundup. Here we're going to have our scoreboard from last week. Guys, we'll start off. I'm going to go Division 2 to the top this time. I'm not going from top. I'm going to go from the division. I'm going to get the private school a little bit.
Do you?
Yep. McCauley, they had a good first round. I mean, give Pope John Paul. They played. They were there. McCauley, though, they were just the better team. They won 64-14. And Baylor playing Father Ryan again. And we didn't even discuss this last week. It is hard to beat a team twice. Actually, not just twice, but 2 times in a row.
Yeah.
Literally back to back. But Baylor did it. They beat Father Ryan 28-21. In Class 1A, South Pittsburgh squeaks by Clay County. They win 36-34. And then we go to 2A, Boyd Buchanan, the home team. They fall just short to Rockwood. Rockwood pulls off the upset 24-21. Knox Grace beats Meigs County 35-23. And Trousdale County beats Whitwell, beats them 29-0. Now 3A. Now this is where it's going to get interesting in my opinion, especially in the Chattanooga area. Notre Dame beat CCS 55-14. I don't know if anyone can stop this Notre Dame offense. Red Bank has a playoff win for the first time in years, and they're going to the next round. They beat Bledsoe County 29-14. McMinn and Grundy, I had you guys with the upset. You played well. I mean, you made the playoffs. No one can take that away from you. But McMinn Central, they were a tough team, too much. They win 43-14. Now we go to 4A. Hickson, the surprise of the season. I'm still saying it. They're 9-2. They beat Page 28-21. And I was at the Signal Mountain, DeKalb County, the DeKalb County game, and Signal, they just keep soaring. They win 49-10, and then Livingston Academy and Chattanooga Central. Chattanooga Central makes the playoffs with first-year Coach Mallory. They fall short to Livingston Academy 42-7. Now 5A had some shakeups. I mean, not necessarily shakeups, but some shockers, because Oak Ridge and Tally Daisy, the first half was a slugfest. Like, they're both going at each other, but Oak Ridge did manage to pull it off. They won 53-28. Ooltewah, the number one team in the area. A lot of people in this area thinking they're one of the best teams, if not the best team in the state. They went against Stone Memorial 31-0. Cleveland and Clinton. Cleveland, a 5-5 team, but Cleveland that really didn't meet expectations. They got the first round win. They won 10-7 against a good Clinton team. And Ray County, the other undefeated team, they are undefeated, and they still are, as they beat our good old friend John Neal's alumni 42-14. But when I said shockers, I just couldn't believe it, because Ryan was texting us during the games Friday. Bradley Central only lost to Science Hill by 12 at Science Hill. Science Hill won 59-47 in an absolute shootout. And then Maryville beats Walker Valley 48-0. But guys, I read off all these scores, added my little zing to them. But Ryan, we're gonna start with you. What game what surprised you based on like how close it was, and what game did you see coming, just knowing how these teams work?
Well, guys, the one that surprised me is you were just talking about it with Bradley and Science Hill. I was texting you early on and saying that, I mean, Bradley jumped out to a 17-0 lead at the beginning, and Science Hill fought back, and it came down to the final possession where Bradley kicked an onside kick. Science Hill recovered. They forced a fourth down. However, Bradley experienced a penalty, and that allowed Science Hill to go ahead and put that go-ahead touchdown to finally win the game. But Bradley was within 3 points late in this game and had a chance to win it. And I don't know about you guys, I was pulling for them hard once I saw that fourth quarter score.
But you always go for the underdog in that situation. Science Hill, one of the best programs in the state. I mean, you always got to go for the underdog. And Bradley Central, especially with a sophomore quarterback.
Absolutely. And one I saw coming was we have to go Signal Mountain and DeKalb County. I was looking at this. Signal Mountain's finally gotten rolling. I was just looking at this. I didn't think it was close, and obviously I was right.
I was at the game, and you liking my tweets, weren't you? Like, I'm trying to pull like a Corso or like a Musburger on it when I like put interception in all caps or anything like that. But I don't make comments about Miss Alabama.
Your Twitter game is getting better.
My Twitter game is getting better, and I'm not really a good tweeter. Like, if you look at my personal Twitter, which we aren't going to discuss, but if you look at that, I'm not really much of a tweeter. But during this, I can't keep my thumbs away from it. But John, what about you? Game that surprised you? Just like if the upset that happened, or how close the game was, or a game that you kind of saw coming from the beginning?
Jake, I mean, clearly you got to look at the 2A bracket there. Boyd Buchanan being upset by Rockwood 24-21. On paper, you wouldn't consider it being upset because Rockwood did have the better record coming in, but with all the momentum and being at home and what Boyd Buchanan could do, it was just so surprising. It actually took me 2 days to fully let that sit in. I thought it could have been a typo a couple of places. I didn't think that our own RCS Taylor, who was there on site, had the typo. It was late. It was cold. You don't know. Brains freeze up. But I'm completely utterly shocked. I was on the radio a couple hours before that game with Mike from the main event at Tennessee Sports. You can find them on Twitter. Great radio show broadcasted over in the Middle Tennessee area that we get our name out every week. But man, I had them go into the semis out of that bracket, and I was just completely utterly shocked of how much they could do. And I think the thing to take away from that, and the thing to take away from the rest of their end of their season, is the unutilized manimal, or what do we call them? Manimal?
Yeah,
that we would say in not finding ways to get Demarius making the ball. I think that was the complete difference of the last 5 games in the season. With the emergence of both running backs late, I just think Boyd Buchanan was insufficient in the passing game, which led to an upset. And when you have a 6'4", 200-pound receiver that is a mismatch, regardless, you find ways to get him the ball. Clearly, we can see that if we want to talk about a Red Bank team who has found ways to get their star-studded athlete a ball. Yeah. And that's not taking anything away from Grant Reynolds because he's got a great team coming back. But I think next year he might scheme a little bit better around the people that he's going to have. Sure. Because I just think that Demarius Macon was really unutilized this year. You can tell by his numbers if you were to put him in any other team what he could have potentially done. He's going to be a snag, a sleeper prospect, as you would say, from any team. But the one I saw coming, we talk about it a lot, or I talk about him a lot, Ottawa shutting out Stone Memorial at home. Oh, yeah. They felt a little bit, undermined a little bit of that number 3 ranking in that quad, and it was real amazing to see what Ottawa, they had something to prove, and they clearly proved that in shutting. They're the only team, I believe, in the games we've covered that didn't allow a point in the playoffs.
Well, Trousdale didn't allow a point.
Trousdale County, facing Whitwell, which Whitwell's had a great year. Yeah. Hats off to the Tigers up there. But Ottawa holding them off. Kelvin Leon again, you keep hearing his name surface each week. And the defense, when Jeremiah Jackson got healthy, he set out that game against McMinn County, and then he got healthy. Stone Memorial, they took care. The Owls took care of business. So that was the one that wasn't a surprise to me. I figured that one was coming.
And we can say this: thank God there's no such thing as high school football bracketology, because our brackets would have been busted in some areas. I own up to it. I always find a way to mess that up. But Taylor, what about you? Same question.
Same question, guys. Before I get into this, I believe your bracket would have been busted with the Grundy County pick last week.
I only had him going up one. I only had him moving up one.
But, for me, the game that I saw coming is going to be Science Hill Bradley. Although I didn't see it as close as it was. That Maryville Walker Valley, you're dealing with some titans of high school football when it comes to those teams there. But Oak Ridge, Saudi Daisy was close at times for me. That was kind of a surprise I had going into it. Baylor, Father Ryan. I didn't pick Baylor to win. I thought when they played in the regular season finale, I thought Baylor looked a little bit sluggish at times. Maybe that, Father Ryan, having already come down to Baylor, having being used to, the travel and everything that goes into it, would kind of sneak away with one. Mm-hmm. But, Baylor getting it done. Hats off to the guys, Nick Tiano and the boys. Congratulations moving forward. But, the surprise for me is going to be, like John said, Boyd Buchanan, Baylor, Father Ryan. Boyd Buchanan, Rockwood, Baylor, Father Ryan, those games there. Just because with Boyd Buchanan and Rockwood, I did not see that going that way. Boyd actually led it the half. For most of the game, they looked like they were the better team and just kind of lost it at the end. And like I said, Baylor and Father Ryan, I really thought the Irish were going to get this one on the road.
And like when you go back to the Boyd game, it's one of those moments where a team is leading throughout the entire game. Now, this is a quote that I've heard. It doesn't matter how long you lead. What matters is who gets the lead at the end.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that kills a lot of teams in this day of age. But when we come,
but I think we got to go a little quick more thing with the teams that lost, Jake and Ryan and Taylor. Give me a reason that these teams should be optimistic for next season. A Bradley County, a Walker Valley, a Saudi Daisy, a Chattanooga Central, a Chattanooga Christian, a Boyd Buchanan, a Whitwell, a Meigs County. Give me some of these teams, what they have looking forward to next season with a couple of people coming back. We'll start with you, Taylor.
Well, Boyd Buchanan, honestly, they don't graduate a lot of kids this year. I think it's only 4 or 5, a handful at most. Cooper Hodge is going to be coming back at quarterback as a senior. He's got a year under the system under Coach Reynolds, kind of running the offense. You've got E.J. Matthews coming back, who carried pretty much the brunt force or the load for Boyd on Friday. Not to say anything negative against Austin Jackson. They're both great runners, but EJ to me looked like the man moving towards the end of the season. Mm-hmm. But they've got a bunch of guys coming back. The defense is going to be reloaded as well coming back next year. I really don't think that the graduating class that Boyd has this year is going to affect them as much as some of the other schools in the area.
Who is anybody else on that you see has a pretty good chance?
You've got, CCS.
I'd agree with the CCS.
They've looked pretty good this past year. Have kind of fallen on some hard times, but it's Coach Finch's first year, so I think those guys are going to bounce back pretty well. But I mean, we've got a lot of teams on here that next year can be a completely different story.
Yep. And I'm going to go back with the CCS. I mean, Spence's first year, they're a 500 team. Last year, I think they won maybe 2 or 3 games. This Chattanooga Christian School is going to bring in so many people because, our head football coach is Coach Spence. He was the offensive coordinator for Rutgers, quarterback's coach there too. Also, let's not forget Clemson, with C.J. Spiller. He's just in the NFL. I'm telling you, CCS and even players around the area I've talked to, they said, you better watch out for CCS in 2 years because they are going to be good. Because who doesn't want to play for a guy that's dealt with NFL talent? So CCS, I think, team that lost in the first round, they're going to be someone to really watch out for.
And I have to agree with all that, CCS mainly because of Coach Spence. But I'm also someone that has something to look forward to is Chattanooga Central. I mean, this was their first year under Coach Mallory, and they've got a lot of talent returning. They've got Isaiah Funk coming back, and we all know he's been the beast in the backfield for the Purple Pounders. And I mean, second year in Coach Mallory's system, they're going to be entering a new district next year, which we're going to get to that soon. The Pounders could end up bouncing back very easily.
Another team, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned it, or anyone's mentioned it, it's Bradley Central.
Well, I was.
You were going to. I beat him to the punch. I'm sorry about that. I beat him there.
Well, I'm going to touch on a little bit of all what y'all said. I like you talking about Hodge coming back. There was a suspect or a little bit of word in the start of the year that he might have not been able to live up to past success of the predecessor there. And, I mean, Cooper Hodge did everything he could under center there for the Boyd Buchanan Buccaneers. But I like what Jake Harden and Jack Keebler give that defense next year. A Meigs County first year under Jason Fitzgerald. It's the first one in seasons 2007, and they had more wins this year than combined the past 2 seasons.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, that's something to look forward to them. I like Chattanooga Christian. I like your pick there. When you saw them, the quarterback play and the stuff they were doing is next-level stuff, rolling coverages. Coach Spence knows how to not only help the offensive side of the ball, but if he's an offensive coordinator, he knows how to beat defenses. And if he knows how to beat defenses, he can make his defense really tough to beat opposing quarterbacks. So I like Chattanooga Christian moving again with Notre Dame and Signal Mountain into a pretty, I think, a step-up district will help them both in players-wise to play up and get a few more personnel there by people moving into that district. Chattanooga Central, like you can say, their first winning season since 2010, their second in a decade. I mean, Ryan Mallory, he had a system down. They're going to play good defense from the linebacker position, and they're also going to run the ball. Next year, we got to see them open up the playbook a little bit. They got to find somebody to replace Scout Morgan under center. It might be Isaiah Funk. Who knows who they're going to turn to, but I'll give you a name to watch out for. Sophomore, DJ Baxter. 36 tackles and 6 interceptions as a sophomore. That's someone to keep an eye on the next couple of years as he matures in that Pounders defense, because I love their defensive coordinator. He's just a coach that I would love to play for if I had that opportunity.
Absolutely.
Saudi Daisy, they lost. They're losing a ton. I mean, they're losing over 3,000 yards from a left-hander quarterback, lefty, and Hunter Maynor, and a couple great receivers in Blake Smith and Levi Thornton, but they welcome back Christian Bell, who had 1,400 yards of total offense and 9 total touchdowns. I've been told by maybe 5 or 6 coaches on that staff the best athlete on that team is Christian Bell. To watch him, Trey Carter does come back. Like we said all year, Trey Carter flips that switch. He's the best receiver in the area by far. But I got to go with my buddy Ryan over here. We've been talking all year long about Bradley Central and their progression. Are they going to take the next step? Are they not? Looking by that 6A Region 1, they did not get any help from the TWSA, so that's something to watch. We're going to get into that. But one name, Cole Copeland, sophomore, going to be a junior next year. If he's not on somebody's radar, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. 2,000 yards passing, 18 touchdowns, 900 yards rushing, and 12 touchdowns. Does that sound like the predecessor to Jacob Huseman here at UTC, or even someone bigger? I mean, only a sophomore. Correct me if
it's a bold prediction, but for a sophomore, especially in the region he was already in now, to put up those numbers is still something you never see. You don't really see it that often. So really Copeland is going to be he is going to be the new golden boy by the time he's a senior.
And I like what he does, both pass and run. I would like to see Damon Floyd, the coach there at Bradley Central, find someone to carry the load at running back. If you're putting a 900 yards on a quarterback each year, he's going to have some wear and tear in those tires. So hopefully they can find someone there. They do welcome back Tyler Carpenter, their leading receiver from this season. Good for Bradley Central. We'll talk about why it might be a little difficult next year and a couple years going forward. But like Ryan, we're texting fools over here, tweeting fools, like Ryan said. If Cole Copeland's able to have this much success in the region they might be going to, and get some Bradley Central some wins, he should be on Heisman watch. He's a high scorer, but he should be on Heisman watch. So I like what Bradley Central can do. But like you said, Jake, when we come back, we're going to go ahead and hit the regions that potentially that are going to do the reclassifications and the regions which teams are going to. A couple surprises in those, who can be successful, who might fall back a little bit. But like I said, we're at the River City Roundup here at Jefferson's Restaurant, produced by Jefferson's Restaurant and powered or produced by Fame Media. When we come back, we're talking new regions for 2015.
All right, welcome back to the Roundup, guys, here at Jefferson's. We just gave our recap of last week's scores. Now we're going to get into something that's really interesting. The new 2015 to 2016 football region alignment recommendations. Now, I looked at, this is the first time of me seeing the whole list today. I'm telling you. You got some that are like the ACC, and you got some that are like the SEC West. And it's just scary about that. But we'll start off with 1A Region 3, where we have Copper Basin, Grace, Lookout Valley, Sail Creek, South Pittsburgh, and Whitwell, which I think that's a good district to have. Yeah. I think they all balance each other out in that one. Yeah. And then we go to 2A. Now 2A is a good one. 2A, it's really a flip of a coin who could win that district. It's Bledsoe County, Boyd, Brainerd, Marion County, Meigs County, Polk County, Silverdale, and Tyner. I don't think I could pick a winner at the top of my head.
I mean, guys, this is the first one I talked about. You look at this, and who do you pick as the favorite? I don't know.
I can't. I really can't. But
every one of these teams, it's going to be a fist fight every year.
And that's what makes this. That's what makes it even better, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
You're bringing in such a good district in this. Now we go to 3A, Region 3. CCS, East Ridge, Notre Dame, Red Bank, Signal, and Howard. That is a good district, in my opinion. Signal Mountain, Red Bank, Notre Dame, and CCS and East Ridge and all that. I mean, Howard's on they're gonna get nothing but better after this, tough year they had. But I think that's an interesting region. But now we go to 4A. Now 4A, now we're getting to the part where it's gonna get a lot better. 4A, we have Chattanooga Central, Cumberland County, East Hamilton. They go down, but then they've also now got Hickson, Livingston, Sequoia, and Stowe Memorial. So I think that one, it's fairly placed one. I mean, they're all close to each other. It's fairly placed. Then that 5A, this is a good one for me. Cleveland, McMinn County, Ooltewah, Ray County, Soddy Daisy, Walker Valley, White County. the only one they really lose are Bradley and East Hamilton. But now, this is the scariest region I've ever seen in any kind of football. Bearden, Bradley Central, Dobbins Bennett, Hardin Valley, Jefferson County, Maryville, Science Hill, and William Blunt. Now you're talking about a team, a region that is like the SEC West with Mississippi State, Auburn, Alabama, LSU, Ole Miss, and Arkansas and A&M. This is like that because like any of these teams have the ability to go off, but with Maryville in that region as well, that's always tough. But guys, we've listed them all off. Ryan, besides 2A, what region? I mean, you're loving the 2A. What region is really kind of sticking out to you? Of like,
Well, let's do this. Let's discuss 1A Region 3. All of us give a favorite and who could surprise in that region,
Okay.
and we'll just go down.
Okay,
through,
that works.
yeah,
go
that
down through there like
actually
that.
sounds better. Actually, okay. Who's region? Let's start with region 1A. Ryan, what about you?
In 1A, I still say the favorite. Looking at this would have to be South Pittsburgh, just because of the program they've always had. I know they've had a bit of a down year this year, but they're still South Pittsburgh and a team that could surprise. I mean, Copper Basin's had a pretty good team this year.
Yeah.
Copper Basin could very well come up and come up and bite a few teams out in that district and really surprise guys.
For me, South Pittsburgh, I agree with you, is the favorite in this one because South Pittsburgh, everyone knows South Pittsburgh. They always have usually built a pretty good program. Down year this year, but they'll be fine. My surprise, though, since we're talking about sophomore quarterbacks so much, I'm going to go with the sophomore quarterback out of Lookout Valley. I'm telling you right now, Lookout Valley, they've got some youth on that team, and they're going to get better. You know, struggling year this year, but they are going to get better. And I think they're a real surprise. What about you, John?
You gotta like South Pittsburgh. They may have been better to play in that 2A region, even though they're playing in 1A. And I see what the TWSA did here. They're putting people in regions that are their classifications, which is good. So they're not having, like that Bradley playing up and East Hamilton playing down,
Right.
But I like South Pittsburgh in Region 1A or 1A Region 3. The surprise, maybe if they can find some depth, they have young players coming back, like Jake said. Grace,
Yeah.
just a surprise out there. That might be a bold prediction, but I do like Jared Thompson at under center for the Grace Golden Eagles. That's a surprise. Sell Creek plays a couple more people around their competition that will help them. So let's go to you, Taylor. What do you think?
In 1A Region 3, I'm going to echo what everybody said, and South Pittsburgh being the favorite, but also look for Copper Basin. They've really showed this past year that they are becoming a team that can compete with some of the bigger schools, some of the big boys in the area. Maybe something that's going to be kind of a shocker. I'm going to go with Whitwell right here. I mean, they've had a decent year this past year.
And they made the playoffs.
They made the
Oh,
playoffs.
I'm surprised
They're playing against a 1A region that, you've got some teams there that nothing, negative to say about these teams, but they're not playing really good football at this time, and it may be something where Whitwell's just in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. All right, let's go. What about 2A? Now, 2A, I want to get to Ryan first, but I think we got to go with Taylor first because Ryan's going to take about 20 minutes of the segment. So we're going to go with Taylor first on 2A. Taylor, winner and surprise.
Winner and surprise. Winner, if I have to go with from last year, I'm going to go with Marion County, just because Boyd Buchanan struggled at times. Silverdale struggled at times. Tyner was kind of inconsistent. Marion, I think, from this past year's playoffs and scheduling things, I think they would be the winner. Surprise, though, Brainerd. I would say if they're not contending for the top spot, they're going to be that team where nobody wants to play them next year, just because they are so competitive and they're a team that really, really likes to upset a team and be kind of a hero dashers, hero destroyers, whatever you want to call them.
It's like David and Goliath. They're
Yeah.
like the David. What about you, John?
Well, I mean, if you look at the 2A Region 3, there's 7 teams, so they're only going to have to schedule, or there's 8 teams, they're only going to have to schedule 3 non-conference games. Big winner, you'd have to take Marion County. I'm going to echo what you're saying. I like Marion County. But when you look at the teams, look, Bledsoe County, down, have a lot coming back. Boyd Buchanan, lost 5, won 5, lost their first round playoff, a lot coming back. Brainerd, a lot coming back. Each team that's had a down year, Polk County didn't win a game, usually a powerhouse, going to have people coming back. Silverdale, people coming back.
Yeah.
Tyner, people coming back. So that team, or that region for that matter, might be the most wide open region next year. The surprise out of that, Tyner. I like Chasen Patrick and Brandon Jackson in that
They're
backfield
good.
for Coach Turner. Something to watch. Coach Turner's been there a while at Tyner. Does he retire after the season now? Likely not. We're not speculating anything
That man
at
will
all.
coach. That man
but
will coach.
He's going to coach at Tyner as long as he possibly can, as long as they have him there. But I like Tyner bouncing back in that region. Going to be good. So swing it over to you, Jake. But I like Marion County with the surprise of Tyner. But I do like the Brainerd pick.
Yeah.
So
I'm actually going to go with the winner, Boyd.
Okay.
I'm going to go Boyd as the winner because you got to return. And we've all talked about this. This is a quarterback-driven area.
Yeah.
And Cooper Hodge comes back. He's had a year of this offense under his belt. He's going to get nothing but better. I think he leads. I mean, and you said they only lost 5 players.
Yeah.
And you could easily build up, fix that with the spring and the summer. So I think Boyd, my biggest thing with them is consistency. If they could be, well, actually, honestly, they consistently lost 5 games. They consistently won 5 games. So just space it out a little bit. But I mean, get off that tough schedule early. But surprise, I'm going to have to go with you, Taylor. I'm going to say Brainerd. I mean, surprise player of the year next year for me is going to be Tevin Walker. Once that guy gets confidence in his throwing ability, I'm telling you, he's scary.
Jake, if I had $5 for every time you said Tevin Walker now, I wouldn't need this job. So
I know. I wouldn't either. But I'm telling you, man, they return, and they also return a lot of talent on offense as well. They really do, and they're just such good athletes. I think Brainerd, even this year, in the district they're in against like Red Bank and Hickson and all them, they were still scary. Like I just think Brainerd is a good team.
I will say, Ryan, before we pass it off to you, speaking in the spring with Coach Gwen, those 3 non-conference games, look for Brainerd maybe to go to out of state to get some opponents. They want to play really up. He wants to show his team what big Division I talent looks like out of state, so they can prepare and look like a team like that, which I think may benefit Brainerd if they were to stick with this district and have those other 7 games and have 3 big tough games and then have 7 in-conference games. I think that would do really well for the Panthers. So what about you, Ron?
I mean, guys, I'm still looking at this and struggling to pick someone who I think would be a definite, I guess, front runner in this district, and I'm gonna have to go with Meigs County. You think about what Coach Fitzgerald has done down there, and Meigs County's had the best year they've had in a long time, and I think they can continue that momentum with Coach Fitzgerald. I played against him, and I'm very impressed with what he did with a Hickson team that was really kind of didn't put up much of a fight through my freshman and junior year, and then come out senior year, and it's a completely different mindset. But for surprises, you look at all these teams: Bledsoe County, Boyd Buchanan, Marion County, Meigs County, Polk County. What all do they like to do? And Tyner, they like to pound the football and they like to play physical. Brainerd's going to give you a different look with their athletes. They're going to try to kill you with speed, and speed kills, especially in districts like that. That's why I'm thinking Brainerd could have a very, very successful run in that district, and especially with Tevin Walker, who I also think is going to have a massive breakout year.
There's $5 right there for you, right?
There we go.
But what about 3A now? I mean, 3A's just as good of a district, as open as of a district as 2A is in my opinion, because Notre Dame, you lose Kareem Moore and Austin Banks, and then Signal Mountain you lose Harrison Moon and Jack Teeter, and East Ridge you lose JoJo Tillery. This could be Red Bank's team, and Red Bank loses Malik Davis as well. But this could be Red Bank's chance to move up. But Ryan, surprise, winner, surprise, 3A.
Favorites, I look at this and you have to go Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
You've got Alex Darris coming back, and I think Coach Fant's going to have those guys ready to play all over again. And a surprise, guys, we've been talking about him for a while, CCS. Coach Spence is going to have these guys scary in a year or two. As they keep getting the athletes and Coach Spence finds a way to fit them into their system, CCS is going to be a team that you do not want to play.
Here's the thing with CCS. I think, they're going to be a really good team within the next year or two. But I think next year for the 3A, if this is what's going to happen, my winner, I'm a believer. I'm going to go Red Bank as the winner. I think Coach Grabowski, especially with a lot of the talent he returns on this team, I think Red Bank's going to win this district. I really do. And I think surprise, I want to say Howard, because Howard could get a lot better because they lost every single game this year, and I think maybe, and I like what their coach is doing over there too, especially with a young team that a lot of freshmen and sophomores playing.
Yeah.
Howard's my surprise.
Well, I mean, in 3A Region 3, I think the loser of that region would have to be Howard. I think it by not saying they will lose the district by any means. I don't want my words to get twisted. I think out of the seeding, out of the teams where they placed, they lost this. They lost this one. They were a loser in the realignment.
Yeah, I understand that.
I think if you could switch them and Marion County in that 2A Region 3, I think Howard would be more bold to play down in that region. They could get some wins, build a strong program there in Mark Teague. I don't think that he can't get it done by any means. He has the players. They're young, and they're just going to get better. I would like to see Marion County playing up in this district. You like what Coach Spence – I mean, the theme is new coaches building better programs. Coach Malone, he has got stamped injury bug caught East Ridge. Not likely to have that bad of a season next year. Chattanooga Christian, they're on the rise. Got Rob Spence developing quarterbacks down there. The young Mercer takes over for his older brother.
Yep.
Going to be very good. But I think the favorite right now, with what Signal Mountain's losing, what Red Bank is losing, they're losing a little bit more than you're giving them, than you're letting them give credit for. With Miles Smith, a young Miles Smith who is a senior, and in Malik Davis. But Red Bank will be tough. Signal will be tough. East Ridge, but you got to like Notre Dame and what Alex Darris and Ricky Ballard can give you in the offensive side. I hope we get to finally see. We love Austin Banks. We love what he gets to see, but I just want to see like a 500-yard passing game from Alex Darris. I just want to see him chucking around for about 46 passes. That's not Coach Fant's MO, but I would like to see it. So I'm going to go Notre Dame favorite with the surprise. I'm going to go ahead and reiterate what everybody said with Chattanooga Christian.
Sure.
Red Bank right there, Signal Mountain right there. Going to be some great rivalries. Just look at, I mean, that district has kind of taken over for that 6 AA district with being inside Chattanooga and potential big-time rivals there. What do you think, Taylor?
For 3A Region 3, when I look at it, I can pick out 3-4 different teams that could very easily win this district. I mean, you're looking at Notre Dame, Red Bank, Signal Mountain. I think that's going to be the slugfest, the deciding factor for who wins the region. One of those three teams, if Notre Dame can beat both of them, or Notre Dame can beat Red Bank and Signal beats, whatever it may be. One of those three teams will win the region, in my opinion. I think Chattanooga Christian is going to be the team to kind of come out of that region and really start shocking people. But also, keep an eye on East Ridge. When they played Howard at the end of the season, they actually got to sub some of their second team guys in, and the quarterback that will take over for JoJo actually got to play and scored a touchdown. So I think East Ridge will bounce back from the seniors that they're graduating this year and will actually be very competitive in this region. But look for one of the big three, Notre Dame, Red Bank, Signal Mountain, to win it.
All right, we probably need to go lightning round on this one a little bit in 4A. Taylor, we'll start with you. 4A winner and surprise.
Winner, I want to go with Hickson. East Hamilton looks good as well. Surprise, Chattanooga Central. I think that those guys are going to move forward into next year and play some really good football.
East Hamilton is one of the winners of the realignment. I like them moving down in that with classification and stuff. I still see them playing up, getting at Ottawa. Mm-hmm. But the Hickson and Livingston Academy is kind of already starting to be a little bit of rivalry out there with them playing each other twice this year. Livingston's going to look good. I like East Hamilton winner. Likely coming out. It's hard to pick against Nick Woods. What we got to see the short amount of him this spring and in the summer, and that first half against Signal Mountain. I like East Hamilton surprise. Chattanooga Central, like you said, Taylor.
I'm going to go with the winner. I'm going to have to go Hickson as a winner. Just because Coach Duff lost 3,000 yards of offense before entering this year, and he still manages to put up 3,000 more. And I think Duff knows what he's doing over there at Hickson. I think they win. Surprise? I'd have to say, well, based on how this year went for him, I'd have to say East Hamilton is a surprise at how they bounce back. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying East Hamilton isn't talented or anything. They've got a lot of potential, especially I'm interested to see Nick Woods come back from injury. But I say surprise because I don't think many people realize how much talent East Hamilton does bring back next year.
See, and I'm actually thinking the same way, just because I think people might overlook East Hamilton. So I'm going to go people are going to look at this and think that Livingston or Hickson are going to be the favorite in this district, and they probably should. Hickson and Livingston are very good programs. They're very physical teams. They like to pound the rock. But East Hamilton is going to be bringing back Nick Woods from injury. They're going to be bringing back Burton Bell, their leading receiver, from injury. They're returning David Whiteside, and they also have a ton of young skill guys and a lot of speed on that team. I would take East Hamilton to win that district, but I think Hickson and Livingston have to be regarded as the favorite right now.
All right, what about we go to 5A Region 4 with Cleveland and Saudi and Udawa and all them. What about you, Rob? What do you got?
This is a tough one, guys. It's just like 5 AAA this year. You look at it and you really I had Cleveland to win it this year, and that didn't plan out as well. I'm still thinking Cleveland as the favorite, actually. Even though Cleveland's got a I like it what Coach Crawford does at Cleveland. They return a lot of guys, but Udawa is also up there returning a whole lot of guys on defense.
Mm-hmm.
A surprise team. I like to see how Ray County does in this district, moving up, playing a lot of tougher competition. I think they could surprise some people.
I'm going to have to go with the winners, Udawa, just because Udawa. 2 words. Jeremiah Jackson. The man plays. He's basically, when he's out there, he's a man among boys, because he can go through any hole, and he can shed any block out there. Jeremiah Jackson's just he's just the real deal as a linebacker in high school.
Rashawn Freeman returns in that defensive backfield
That's
too.
scary. That's scary too, and he's also a good receiver. So it'll be interesting to see who can play with Udawa with these 2 guys coming back. Surprise! They made the playoffs this year, and no one really is talking about them that much at Walker Valley. I think Walker Valley will surprise a lot of people, just because people are like, oh, Walker Valley, they're the lower seeding of us. But I think Walker Valley, especially, I think they have something to prove, because they've got Cleveland, Udawa, Ray County, and Saudi, and McMinn. So I think Walker Valley could surprise a lot of people this year.
Ryan, I don't like your pick in Cleveland. I like them this year, but losing T.J. Parker and Raekwon Bunyan is going to be hard to overcome with Austin Massey. They do have a young talent, so they'll 6-4, 7-3, 5-5, like where they like to stay, with a little bit of surprise in the playoffs. I like Udawa. I'm going to reiterate, Rashawn Freeman. That's all you need to know for next year coming in. They lose Edward Hayes and they lose Anthony Turner. Rashawn's going to be the go-to guy in that offense. Keep an eye on Logan Elrod. He was in the mix at quarterback, and then Kelvin Leon eventually overtook him, and look at the year Kelvin Leon's had. So with the defense getting back, likely to give Rashawn Freeman the ball back on offense, with Logan Elrod likely to take the snaps under center next year. Udawa, again, a favorite there if they can keep Drew Atkins as the offensive coordinator and couple that other coaching staff. Another thing, we don't say this a lot, but the TWSA got it right. Ray County needed to be playing this district.
No, they did.
And now they get a play up. You're not going to see those, bold prediction, you're not going to see those 10-0 win-loss records anymore from Ray County with playing the teams they're going to have to play. Now, not saying that the district they were in was down, because they did play Cookeville, but it was down. So
let's be subtle about it.
McMinn County brings back DJ Kempson, a name to watch. Also, Walker Valley. I like what you said. Alex King, watch him running back Walker Valley.
Yeah.
You got to feel for White County, though, coming all the way over from Sparta on a couple of long road trips. But White County is tough. So that's where Coach Malone, that's Funky Stone Malone used to coach back in the day. So Udawa winner, surprise, probably a Cleveland or Ray County. But Udawa is kind of the class of that district as long as Mac Bryan's there.
Yeah,
what do you think, Taylor?
I'm going to go Udawa Ray County as the winner. Whoever wins that matchup will basically win the region, in my opinion. And the shocker coming out of it, I like what you guys had to say about Cleveland. I like what Jake had to say about Walker Valley as well. I think that may be the sleeper team that we don't see coming out of the region here. Maybe the team that kind of shocks everybody, comes into it and really starts surprising people.
I'm actually interested from everybody here when we now go to 6A Region 1. Really, the SEC West in the state of Tennessee. Like, Taylor, who wins, and can there even be a surprise team in this? Because it's incredible.
I mean, before I give a winner, when I look at this region, the only thing I can think is Bradley Central High School is about to spend a ton of money on charter buses trying to go to Bearden, to
Jefferson
Dobbins
County,
Bennett, Hardin Valley, Harrison County, and so forth. Winner, I like Dobbins Bennett. I like Maryville just because, they're Dobbins Bennett and Maryville. But shocker, surpriser, Bearden, Bradley Central. I mean, this one is kind of the big boys region, if you want to call it that, and I really think that this one's going to be very competitive.
What about you, John?
Surprise team, Bradley Central, Cole Copeland. We already discussed him a little bit earlier. No surprise here. Maryville High School, George Quarles. What is it, like 160 and 10 in the past 10 years? It's amazing what he can do up there. I'm surprised no college has been able to sweep under him and him move up through the college ranks, but he likes what he's doing there. Jake, who do you like?
For me, the winner is actually easy. It's Maryville. Dobbins Bennett, they have a history of always playing dominant in a season, but here's a fun fact. Dobbins Bennett has never won a state championship. Never. They've never won. They always find some way to mess it up in the playoffs. Bearden, they're rebuilding, and Bearden will get better. I don't think they will immediately going into this region. Bradley Central, I want them to be a surprise, but it's not going to surprise me that they're going to play well. So really, my surprise would probably have to be, I'm going to say Hardin Valley, especially since they're a young school. They're only like maybe 6 or 7 years old, and they're already in 6A football.
Yep.
I think they are going to shock a lot of people because I played against Hardin Valley too. They've got some talent up there, and they are bringing in a lot of players. So I'm going to have to say Hardin Valley is my surprise. Ryan?
I mean, when Maryville's name is even brought up there, you have to regard them as the favorite. That's just the reputation George Quarles has put around that program. And whenever you hear Maryville High School football, there's a little bit of an intimidation factor. You also have to look at Dobbins Bennett, and obviously it's hard to win on the road at Dobbins Bennett, which Oodlewa was able to do this year. Only lost Dobbins Bennett.
Put Oodlewa in that region. I say put them in there. Let's see what
I have to agree with Bradley Central being the surprise in this district for this sole reason of Cole Copeland. I think what he's done in 5 AAA already, it's curious. He gets another year of experience, gets another year into that system, and see what he does moving up into the big boy. You can't really say he's moving up into the big boy leagues after leaving 5 AAA, but.
But here's. And I'm going back because my old high school's in this district now, in this region, Jefferson County, and Jefferson County's coach, Coach Cobble, was the defensive coordinator at Red Bank 4 years back, and now he's up at Jefferson County. Like his first 3 years or 2 or 3 years, they were successful. This year was a bit of a struggle. The Patriots went 2-8, but I'd like to see them get, but they come from a 2-8 season to the toughest region in Tennessee. I hope they can survive. That's all I'm going to say. But I think Coach Cobble knows what he's doing up there. But this region, I'm just worn out thinking about it.
Yeah, there you have it. There is the 2015-2016 football region alignment recommendations. As soon as they finalize those, we'll also have that out on our website from TWSA. But when we come back here from Jefferson's Restaurant, we will have our 5-year win tracker. We're going to tell you who the top 5 teams of the past 5 years are, and then we're going to project who our five best teams will be 5 years from now. So when we come back, we're talking our 5-year win tracker and who's projected to be good in 5 years. And we welcome you back from Jefferson's Restaurant, the River City Roundup, brought to you by Jefferson's of Chattanooga. where you can get your best oysters and wings in town. We're also produced by Fame Media. If you have a highlight, you have a player in the area who wants to take their level to their highlight to the next level, check out the guys at Fame Media. But we're talking our 5-year regular season win tracker, where our top 5 teams for over the past 5 years are Signal Mountain at 40-10, Baylor at 37-13, Ottawa at 36-14, Boyd Buchanan at 33-17, and Bradley Central 31-19 over the past 5 years. As you can look on the screen, we have all the other teams listed. Sale Creek has never won a game yet in school history, but they've only played 2 years of varsity football. Now we're going to talk about why those teams have been the best teams in the past 5 years, and then we're going to give you who we think will be the best teams in 5 years from now. Well, guys, Taylor, I'm going to swing it over to you.
Sure.
Name me one of those 5 teams why you think they've been there and they've been that dominant over the past 5 years.
I think the reason Signal Mountain has been so dominant is Coach Price. Since he's come over there, the team really has not stumbled very much in regular season play. They've got a state championship under his belt. They reload every year. They've got tons of backs that they can throw at you, and it's one of those things where Signal is quickly becoming, they haven't been a school very long, quickly becoming one of the teams in the area that you just don't want to play. And I think Coach Price has quite a bit to do with that.
And Jake, what about you? What's one of those teams that just pops off the page of why they've been so good for so long?
Signal Mountain was one of them for me. I'd have to say Ottawa just because, Ottawa, ever since I played in high school, has always been a strong football team. They always seem to have plenty of talent out there. They always seem to, like, whoever their athletic director is, he just brings in some good coaches and brings in a good system. And Ottawa just knows how to take advantage of all the athletes out there in that area. So I'm not surprised Ottawa's 30. I'm surprised Ottawa's only won 36 games in the past 5 years. That's kind of surprising to me, especially the way they played this year. That's what kind of got me. So I just think Ottawa, they stand out to me because, we know how good they are. So that means entering this season. Is this before this season, or is this including this season?
This is including this season.
So they were 26-14 entering this season.
Yes.
So that's incredible that they jumped it up 10 games in one season.
Jake, I'm just gonna echo what you said. Ottawa. I used to live out in the Ottawa area. I moved over before I started going to East Hamilton. But I got to tell you, they just grow athletes out there in the Ottawa area. There's really just no other way to put it. They just come out of nowhere. I remember just all the middle schools in that area. They always have incredible talent. And one thing that's always kind of made me wonder is if East Hamilton hadn't been built, East Hamilton, Ottawa, all those athletes would be in one school. It's just scary to think about.
And they were scary.
And they would be playing in 6A with some of these other teams, and Bradley Central might not be playing in that 6A Region 1 in that district next year. But the underlying theme for the top 5 schools is look how long the head coaches have been there.
Yeah.
There's not been a coach come in. The shortest tenure has been Mac Bryan at Ottawa, but that foundation, like y'all said, was already laid there. He's just taking it up a notch. I think the team that's underlined is you have to be Bradley Central. Yes, they're 31-19, but they've had 2 back-to-back 5-5 seasons. So think of how good they were 2 seasons ago. But like I said, Signal Mountain, Baylor, Ottawa, Bradley, Boyd Buchanan, Bradley Central round out our top 5 win tracker. Guys, look at a team right now that's down through the rest of the list, as you can tell on the screen. What's a team that really surprises you that they're this low on this list?
McCauley. You're looking at them, they're at 23-27. That being said, they do play in a very tough division, but they can recruit kids to come to school and play for them. To be 4 games under 500 when you can throw that kind of weight around is very surprising to me.
And who do you think, Jake?
I'm surprised Notre Dame wasn't in the top 5. Notre Dame. This has been their year, and Coach Fant, everything's coming together. Another team that kind of surprised me. I'm just gonna say I probably have to reiterate with you, Taylor, McCauley, and I actually Sally Daisy. I'm gonna say Sally Daisy for. They usually have a strong program. They've had 4 coaches in the past 7 years.
Yep.
So that with that kind of record that they have, it kind of explains a lot.
Who do you think, Ron?
I've got two teams that I'm kind of surprised to see as low. I know why they are. It's East Hamilton and Notre Dame, and 5 years ago, East Hamilton was just built, and they had 3 wins over 2 years, and that's also before Coach Fant got to Notre Dame. And as you saw as the talent started to develop at East Hamilton and Coach Fant arrived at Notre Dame, the wins have just skyrocketed since then.
And my big thing is Notre Dame has been 26-4 over the past 3 years. So before then, like you said, Coach Fant, that's why they're sitting there at number 6. So they're the most winningest team in the past 3 seasons. But we're talking 5. Big one to look at is Tyner. And since they redid the districts before and how much success Wayne Turner had in the previous 5 years to this was phenomenal. They would have been in the top 5. Another team, like you said, McCauley, 2 of those years, Ralph Potter wasn't there. Now he's back. The past 2, or particularly this season, where they went 9-1 in the regular season, or 8-2, really jump-started that team. Another one, Ryan, we talked about this for a little bit. 2010, so 4 seasons ago, or 5 seasons ago, right? Howard was undefeated, 8-2, or
Absolutely.
and now they've had 3 wins in 4 years. We're big Mark Teague supporters. I think he can get it done. But how did that team fall off so fast? It's a question that I don't have the answer to.
I mean, guys, I played against that 8-2 team when I was a sophomore. I was 150 pounds, getting pushed around by half of that team. Went to colleges all over the nation, and they were scary. I mean, I can't put another word. They were a scary team to play. And since then, they haven't had the same athletes, and they just haven't had the same fight. It's starting. Hopefully, Coach T can finally start to bring that fight back. But I mean, the two teams I played against after that 8-2 year just didn't have the same feel to it.
I just one thing you gotta like everyone, it's that no one really pays attention to when it comes to high school football. High school football programs can go through slumps like college programs, like even powerhouse programs go through. Tennessee, they went through a slump. Michigan is going through a slump. It's like Howard's going through this kind of slump. I mean, they were 8-2 3 seasons ago, 8-2, and they've only won 3 games in 4 years. It happens. I mean, powerhouses. I mean, the tyrant falls, but then it's a circle of life. Everyone finds their way back. So I think I agree. I think Coach Teague will find a way to get Howard back.
So now we're going to project 5 years from now. So that would be what season? If it's 2015 starting next year, the 2020 season, or 2019 season. When we look back, give me the top 5 teams from each of you who think will have particular records like a 40-10 Signal Mountain.
Looking forward 5 years from now, my top 5 in no particular order are going to be Notre Dame, Baylor and McCauley, and then you've got Ottawa, which honestly haven't really been shockers so far for my projected top 5. But a team to look out for here in the next couple years, I think, is going to be Red Bank. I think with the athletes that they have, the coaching that they have under Coach Grabowski in his first year, he's only going to get better. The team is only going to be able to – they're going to get used to him. They're going to be able to do more out of the playbook. He's going to be able to throw more at them. I think they are going to be, in addition to the 4 powerhouses kind of in the area, that team to look for here in the next few years.
And what about you, Jake?
I do actually have an order for mine. I go number 5, going to 5. I'm going to go McCauley at 5th. 4th, I'm going to say Red Bank. Red Bank is on the restore the Roar. The Roar has been restored, even with a 6-4 season going to the second round of the playoffs. They're doing something right over there. Number 3, I'm going to have to go to Notre Dame. Notre Dame, I mean, what Coach Fant's doing over there and what he's done the past 3 seasons, they've been 26-4. I can't argue with that. They're just good, and they are fun to watch too. 2, Signal Mountain. I think Signal Mountain. With Coach Price, for as long as he's been there, Signal Mountain has just been awesome, and I think they're just going to keep being awesome. The Eagles are just going to keep soaring to 8-2, 7-3 seasons, and they're just going to be good. And number 1, I'm going to say Ottawa. Ottawa, they're just, like Ryan said, they just grow athletes out there. They just grow them. I feel like they've got a big field in the back, and they just put some seeds and water in. About 15, 16 years, they rise from the ground, and that's what they are. They're just marbled from stone and everything it's ridiculous to me. So I just think Ottawa, they are set up to be the best team within the next 5 years. And CCS is a close 6th, I think. CCS is going to be really good if Spence is still there.
And what's crazy is when you talk about your 5 and then 6 counting CCS. a lot of those are going to be in the same district.
I know.
So basically, you're saying that 3A district is going to be a powerhouse throughout the state from here on out.
I think it's a strong possibility it could happen.
I mean, I agree with you with Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame with Coach Fant is going to be incredible over the next 5 years. You look at him; I believe he's lost 4 games over the past 3 years. Is what you said. And CCS, I also look to do it with Coach Spence. We can't talk enough about him. Coach Spence knows what he's doing, and he's very good at what it is. Baylor, I expect them to also be up there. Ooltewah's always going to be Ooltewah. They do grow athletes out there. And 5, I have East Hamilton. You take away those first 2 years of us starting the school, and then you take them moving back down, and then with Coach Gatewood, I think Coach Gatewood gets it done. They're one of the top programs in Chattanooga.
Well, I'm going to go 5. I'm going to give you Red Bank. I like Coach Grabowski. If some other program can't sweep him up in Tennessee, which I don't think they can, he loves Red Bank. I like Notre Dame or Red Bank at 5. 4, I like Notre Dame. I like next year's Notre Dame team with Alex Darris and Ricky Ballard. I got to see what they have following that to really push them forward, but I think Coach Fant stays there. They're going to be explosive. At number 3, I'm going to give you Baylor. Iffy with Nick Tiano leaving where they could be, but you said that when Jacob Huseman left.
Yeah.
So I like Baylor at 3. I'm going to go Ooltewah at number 2. I like what Ooltewah can do and what they have potential with. Out in that area, like you said, they grow athletes. Total shocker, I know. It's amazing. Signal Mountain sitting there at number 1 at 40-10 over the past couple of seasons. But they're going to fall to 6. And I'm going to give you a name to watch who's going to be number 1. If he comes back healthy off an ACL tear, you're going to give 2 years of in a district that you've gone down with athletes and a coach in Ted Gatewood. East Hamilton, it's there, guys. They have the facilities, they have the coaches, they have the fan support, and they have the money in the quarterback club to get the facilities and to upgrade those. And I just like when you look at these teams, Baylor losing a star quarterback, Signal Mountain losing a couple of people, Ooltewah losing a couple of people, what will be good over the couple of years. East Hamilton has the right guy under center. It would have been amazing to see the Hurricane season if Nick Woods would have been completely healthy and they would have been moved up. So I think with him healthy, if Gatewood stays, no one sweeps him up, he doesn't decide to retire again, I like East Hamilton being number 1 in 5 years, just to surprise some people with the district they're playing in now. Who knows? TWC might get tired of this district alignment and switch it back. So, but that's who I like out of my top 5 with Nick Woods. I'm a big Nick Woods fan. But when we come back, we're going to talk the second round pairings of the Chattanooga area football teams. Stay tuned. We welcome you back to the River City Roundup, hosted by Jeffersons of Chattanooga and produced by Fame Media. We're talking second-round pairings here of the 2014 TSSA playoffs. There are no remaining teams in 6A in the Chattanooga area, so we're going to go ahead and move on to 5A. Like we said, next year, look forward to Bradley Central playing that top 32. Class 5A, you have our game of the week, which we'll talk about a little bit later, so we're going to go ahead and go down to Cleveland at Oak Ridge. Guys, they're in 1987, 1988. That's the last two times the teams have played one another. They were 1-1 in the series. Who do you have? Why do you like them?
I'm going to go with Oak Ridge. It's at Oak Ridge. That having to travel up there, especially for now a 6-5 Cleveland team, who hasn't really. I mean, we can say all we want about T.J. Parker, Austin Massey, the whole crew, but I really think it's going to take a little bit more than what Cleveland is kind of accustomed to doing on a Friday night in order to beat an Oak Ridge team on the road.
What about you, Jake? Who do you like out of that game?
I picked the upset last week. I'm going to pick it again. I think Cleveland takes it on the road. I just think Cleveland, this is a new season for them. You know, especially after a 5-5 season, they got that first big win against a very good Clinton football team. I think Cleveland, they got momentum, and I think Oak Ridge overlooks them. I think Cleveland wins close.
Jake, you bring in a very good point. I think Oak Ridge very well could be looking ahead to the winner of the Ooltewah and Ray County game coming up, but Cleveland, this is not the Cleveland team that started off the season. That first Cleveland team was really bugged with injuries, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. And I think they give Oak Ridge a real good scare on the road. However, I'm not sure. I don't think I can call the upset on this one. I think Oak Ridge pulls it out, but I think it's a very, very close ball game.
Well, there you go. I like Cleveland, Jake. We're thinking the same thing. They're new season. Cleveland, Raekwon Bunyan, T.J. Parker. I've been saying their two names. Another smash and dash duo. They complement each other. Oak Ridge took a little bit of time to put away Saudi Daisy. I just like Cleveland. I don't know. It's something about the Blue Raiders, but I like Cleveland. Class 4A, Hickson at Livingston Academy. Two teams that played each other in the regular season. The most points Livingston Academy gave up all year in 39. But something to keep your eye on. Hickson's both losses were on the road, and they're having trouble in the second half. They're only averaging about a point, 2 points in the third quarter, and about 3.5 points in the fourth quarter. If Livingston Academy was able to stop them early, maybe they can put them away at home, which they were not able to do, beating two Wildcat teams. A potential little rivalry starting there with teams maybe merging in district. Taylor, who do you like, Hickson or Livingston Academy?
Well, I'm going to go with Hickson in this one, just because of, I mean, Jake has been talking about him all day, all week. If you want to go into that, but Marshall Cooper, the play of the Hickson backfield, and you've got Marshall Cooper, you've got Preston Wilkie, you've got James Cole. The list goes on, and I really like Hickson's offensive line. I got to see him when they played Chattanooga Central, and they had guys blocking downfield all night. I'm going to go with the Wildcats in this one, but it's close. 2-3 points, very, very close matchup.
And Jake, who do you like out of Hickson and Livingston Academy?
I like the team I'm going to pick. I like it because of the possible setup that we could have next round. I'm going to go Hickson as well. Hickson just knows how to win ball games. Yeah, they've averaged. This is a stat that goes against them. When they played Brainerd, they were up 19-0 at the half. That's what the score. That's how the game ended. They scored nothing in the second half. The key for Hickson to beat Livingston on the road, they're not only going to have to score early, but they got to play consistent on offense. They got to be able to get those first downs, and they got to be able to hold on to the football. But I think Hickson does come away with the upset against Livingston.
Well, guys, Hickson to win this ball game on the road against a very talented Livingston Academy, they're going to have to play the most complete game they have all season. They're going to have to string together 4 very complete quarters of football. And this is going to be a very, very physical football team. I like Hickson's offensive line. I like what they have in the backfield with Marshall Cooper, Tariq Twitty, and James Cole. But like I said last week, it's hard to beat a team twice. I think Livingston Academy pulls this one out at home.
Ryan, we're about on the same page. Gave up the most points they did all season on the road. Did Livingston Academy, 9-1 team, playing again at home. Hickson has found ways to win. They do have Marshall Cooper and a great backfield, but Livingston Academy at home is just a little too much, I believe, this week for Hickson. Now, as much as I would love to see them take on Signal Mountain on the quarterfinals, I think the Wildcats come up short against the Wildcats of Livingston Academy, and Livingston Academy is going to move on to quarterfinals. So Signal Mountain travels at 9-2, traveling to an 11-0 Loudon team who was able to knock off a 1-point win to East Ridge earlier in the year. That's the only other time we've talked about Loudon. Taylor, does Signal Mountain continue to soar, or does Loudon continue to go undefeated?
This is going to be my bold prediction for the week. I think not only does Signal Mountain go to Loudon and get the win, I think they do it in convincing fashion. I think Signal Mountain will beat Loudon 35-0.
Bold.
Very bold prediction,
Bold.
but I think they get it done.
What about you, Jake? I know you're real high on the Eagles of the Signal Mountain.
I'm as high as Signal Mountain right now. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't know if I would tell people that, but that's okay.
I meant like physically. Like I'm on top of a mountain.
I'm just,
What are you going
I'm
at?
just going on.
I think I like the prediction. I'm not going to say not so fast. I go, that's about right. That's what I was going to say. You know, Signal Mountain, they've outscored their, but you can say, oh, they don't play anybody. When you put up 107 points in 2 games and only give up 13, doesn't matter who you're playing. You're putting up points. I think Signal Mountain wins by at least 2 or so scores. I think Loudon, I think Signal Mountain is just a better team.
What do you think, Ron?
I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I don't think this is close. I think Signal Mountain blows Loudon out of the water.
All right, Loudon is 11-0. There's been a few words exchanged from both sides of the teams. That's not going to be taken lightly from the Signal Mountain portion. We're not going to get into too much details there. If you want to know more, you can just email me at rivercsports@gmail. I'll give you the lowdown about that one. But Signal Mountain traveling, Taylor, I like the feel right here.
Yeah.
Jack Teeter, yeah, I don't even need to go into details. Signal Mountain big. Class 3A, Notre Dame hosting Upperman, the only team in the area hosting a home game. Another something to real pin on there. Notre Dame, Coach Fant said if they were able to host games at home, they were going to be able to make a deep run. He's doing that. Upperman beat them last year, 19-10. Though they graduated a lot of that team when Notre Dame brought back a lot of their team. Put them out in the quarterfinals. Notre Dame, Upperman. You're going to be on hand, Taylor. So give me what you got on that game.
Well, it may be a little bit too early to give a pick. I am going to be out there this Friday, but I have seen Notre Dame a couple of times this year. I really like what the offense can do, but the defensive play is going to be really, really crucial, really key in this matchup. And also, there's going to be a little bit more on the line. You said Upperman put them out last year. I think this is going to be more of an emotionally charged game. I look for Notre Dame to wear black jerseys just to kind of come out and give them that little edge. I think this one is not close, but I do not want to pick a team yet.
Okay, what do you think, Jake?
I think I already know who he's going to pick.
I'm not saying anything.
I mean, yeah. But I think, like you said, this is an emotional game for Notre Dame. This is the team that ended their hopes last year. And Notre Dame, not only do they have a great defense, but they have the best secondary, still to this day, I have seen. I think Notre Dame wins handily. I just think it's as simple as that. Creemore, Austin Banks, they each have over 100 yards.
Yeah, Taylor, you're not fooling anybody. Notre Dame's going to win this game big. They've got an incredible defense. I love what Tyler Ennis brings to the football field. And their speed on the offensive side of the ball with Austin Banks, Creemore, and everyone else, it's unreal. Notre Dame's going to cruise.
Okay, Notre Dame versus Upperman. I'd like to see Austin Banks get more than 5 touches in this ball game.
Well, if he doesn't put up 190 yards on those touches, I mean, what's the point?
I mean, it is no point, but I know you want to rest people, but when it comes in next week, likely, and the week after that, you got to have people playing in the fourth quarter and that longevity of a game, like what it feels like to play for 4 quarters. It's good to rest people, but we see it all the time in the NFL. You rest people, they're not kind of in that mode in that third and fourth quarter, and they get beat. So Upperman's going to give them a little bit of a test early. Like I said, it's going to be like 56-10. It's not even going to be close.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, they've been rocking and rolling.
I didn't even say it that blunt.
Yeah. But Red Bank, 6-4 regular season, now winning their first playoff game since 2001, when their last postseason appearance was. They went 3-7 in 2013. They're going on the road to McMinn Central, a team that was 4-6 last year, getting their first playoff berth. since a couple of years. So, two teams, both emotional eggs. One likes to stop the run. One likes to run the football. One's got a dynamic athlete at running back in McMinn Central. The other one's got a dynamic athlete at quarterback now in Malik Davis, one of our big River City Sports Players of the Week. Ryan, I know you can tell us all about that, so we're going to swing it back over to you. Red Bank at McMinn Central. Who do you have?
First off, I want to talk a little bit about Malik Davis. Against Bledsoe County, Red Bank didn't play their best football. I'll just say it that bluntly. They looked like they were looking ahead to this game, and that's why I think they bring their all against this game. Malik Davis had 4 touchdowns and 3 picks. I look for more of the same against McMinn offensively, and against McMinn Central, who we all know likes to line up in the power eye and just run the football. They're going to be running the football right at maybe the best defensive line in Chattanooga. That's why I have Red Bank winning this game, but I think it's a low-scoring affair.
What do you think, Jake?
I completely agree with you. I think, McMinn went, 8-2 in the regular season? They run the power eye, but here's the thing. You can run the ball all day long. I mean, you got the Stamper brothers and Omar of Red Bank. I don't think you're going to run the ball that well on those guys. I think Red Bank pulls off the upset on the road.
Well, Taylor, Red Bank at McMinn Central. What are you thinking?
For Red Bank to win this one here on the road against a very good McMinn Central team, Malik Davis is going to have another one of those nights. Now, Ryan, let me just clarify. He didn't throw 3 interceptions. He had 3 interceptions on defense and then had 4 touchdowns of his own. So if he can have one of those nights again, if the offense can get going as far as Malik Davis, as far as DeMarcus Rivers, as far as Ben Brown, throwing that name out there, I think that Red Bank can get the win on the road, but it's close. However, I don't think they get it done. I think McMinn Central wins this one here.
Well, Taylor's going to McMinn Central. Okay, Red Bank was 4 points away from actually hosting this game, because if they would have won their district, they would have been the heavier seed there, and get McMinn Central at home. Traveling on the road when they've played up this year against the Signal Mountain, against the Saudi Daisy, and against the Hickson team, all playoff teams.
Yeah.
They've struggled. But with that being said, I'm a big, critiquer on the quarterback play of the area teams and any quarterback play for that matter. Coach Grabowski's figured it out. You don't have a Nick Tiano. You don't have a Hunter Maynor. You have a guy who just is the better athlete than everybody on the field.
Yeah.
So you put him at the place that he's going to get the ball every time that he touches. You see that sometimes. You see teams go 4-6 with that, but they're 6-4 now, 7-4. Red Bank traveling to McMinn Central, 24-21. Malik Davis busts about a 68-yard play somewhere crazy in the fourth quarter. Probably jukes 2 people, does the Dougie or whatever he does, back there, does a little spin move, and they beat McMinn Central Chargers. They charge right back past McMinn, and they're going to play Red Bank likely in the quarterfinals.
Red Bank's going to play Red Bank?
Red Bank's going to play Red Bank. Red Bank's going to play Notre Dame. So, Class 2A, Jackson County at Marion County. Give me a winner, Taylor.
Marion County.
I got Marion County. Who do you have?
I go upset with Jackson.
Wow.
Going with Jackson. I just got that feeling.
What do you got?
Marion County.
Okay, Marion
Miss Jackson's
County.
for real this time, man.
Okay, Class 1A, South Pittsburgh at Copper Basin. Taylor, give me a pick.
I think you've picked Jackson County before and said that exact thing.
And it
that's what's
worked.
got
And it worked.
South Pittsburgh at Copper Basin. I'm going to go with South Pittsburgh.
I like South Pittsburgh as well. Who do you have, Jake?
I go South Pittsburgh as well. I gotta go with
What
them.
about
South
you, Ryan?
Pitt.
Okay, well, Division II AA, McCauley traveling to face an NBA team, which NBA knocked them off a couple of weeks ago in a very high-scoring game. Can Craig and Trotter get it done this week?
I think they do. It's very difficult to beat a team twice, especially in 2AA. The way that division has kind of gone this year, it's really a toss-up for these teams. But I think that after playing them already, kind of knowing what they can expect against an NBA team, I think McCauley gets the edge in this one, but it's going to be very close. Trotter doesn't maybe have the night that he's accustomed to, maybe a $125, $130 on the ground, a couple of touchdowns, but not a lot. I think the difference is going to be Javon Craig's play, but I think McCauley gets it done.
What about you, Jake? Who are you liking out of that? You're going to say it. So it's okay. You can go ahead and say it.
I'm gonna say NBA pulls it off. I just think the wear and tear of Macaulay's schedule toward the end of the year, when you had Ensworth and Bowling Green and NBA and Brentwood and all them, with Baylor as well, all them lined up, that really does take an effect on you. Like, it really just tires you out in the game, like tires you out throughout the season. I just think NBA is just going to pull this off, especially since it's at NBA. I just think NBA is going to do it.
What about you, Ron?
I think that game Macaulay had against Pope John Paul was huge. Get a little bit of their confidence back, get a little bit of fresh legs under them, just get back into how things are supposed to be going. And they're traveling back up to NBA, and this is a revenge trip for them, quite simply. The NBA cost them a district title and a much higher seed in these playoffs, and they're going up here for revenge. And I think they get it done in convincing fashion.
You like Macaulay? Well, Jake, we're thinking the same way tonight. I love what Ralph Potter and the Blue Tornado have been able to do this year, but traveling to the road, not playing at home,
Right.
like they did play at Baylor at home, they did play at Ensworth at home, they played at Brentwood Academy at home, but Brentwood Academy is Brentwood Academy, and they knocked off the Blue Tornado. I just like NBA. I think they've got the formula to shut down Alex Trotter and Javon Craig. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. I would love to see Javon Craig again solidify his folklore in the state of being a great prospect for the class of 2016.
The tall tale that is Javon Craig.
The tall tale that is Javon Craig, and the manimal or whoever he hands the ball off to in the back with Alex Trotter. But I like NBA in this one. Baylor at Christian Brothers High School, traveling a 5-hour trip to Memphis by bus. They're leaving early Friday morning. Spoke with an insider source there. They're feeling it. They're feeling it. I think that game against Father Ryan again gave them confidence. So, talked a little about an insider of Christian Brothers. He's not feeling too confident about Christian Brothers with that number 2 seed there in the West. So I'm going to go ahead and give my pick. I like Nick Tiano and them to get it done on the road. A likely matchup again against an NBA team, which they were able to beat off at home earlier in the year, or a Macaulay, a team that they struggled with earlier in the year. So hopefully they're not looking ahead to those possible matchups and you beat Christian Brothers. But I like Baylor. Taylor, who are you going to go with?
You know, I picked Father Ryan last week and regrettably didn't get that right. So I'm not going to make the mistake again. I'm going to pick Baylor. I am a little bit worried about the 5-hour trip, but I think they get it done.
What about you, Ron?
Guys, it's one thing making this trip when you don't have a leader like Nick Tiano under center. I think Nick Tiano is going to inspire his team. He's going to have an incredible game. He's had an incredible game every year, but he's going to pass his own standards. And I think Baylor gets it done, and we see Baylor Macaulay next week.
Awesome. It's that time again, River City Sports Roundup or River City Sports Game of the Week. Ottawa travels to Ray County. 2 teams we saw each other in the Jamboree this year. 2 teams. One team believes that they don't deserve that number 2 rank seeding. One believes they do. Both teams are 11-0. Last time they played was in 2012, which was an Ottawa win, 33-12. Actually, the last time Ray County won was a 24-21 win in 2010 over the Owls. It's an old rivalry, an old district rivalry. It might look like it's going to be a new rivalry again or a restored rivalry. So, let's go to you, Taylor. You've seen the Owls. Ron, I know you've seen Ray County, so we'll let you talk about them in a second, but who do you like, Taylor?
For this particular game, if we know Ray County is going to run the ball. If Ottawa and the defense that we've talked about all year, the land sharks, whatever you want to call them, if they can show up, if they're feeling it come game time, I don't think they struggle. However, I do think that Ray County gets a few on them, maybe 14, 21 points, something along those lines. But ultimately, I think the offense under Kelvin Leon, under Coach Drew Akins and his tutelage, under the well-oiled machine that is the Ottawa offense, I think they get it done 35-21.
Ryan, what about you? Ottawa, Ray County.
Guys, Ray County is a very good football team. They run the wing tee better than any team in the area. They have an incredible offensive line. They've got a string of running backs that run very hard. That being said, they have not played a defense at Ottawa's caliber. And Also, when they played Saudi Daisy, they gave 37 points to the air attack because that's the weakness in their defense is their secondary. Kevin Leon's foaming at the mouth thinking about that. I think he throws for 300 yards. Anthony Turner and Edward Hayes have over 100 yards each, and I think you said Udawal won 33-12 last time. I like that score.
Jake, what about you? It's our game of the week. We're going to be traveling up there to Ray County on Friday night up there to Dayton, Tennessee. Who do you like and why?
I've picked him before. I'll pick him again.
The hat looks good on you.
It does.
The 4th or 5th time I've seen that.
Because every time I wear the hat, they win. So I'm
When
just
you
saying.
don't wear the hat, they win.
That's very true.
That's about right. But Udawal, I like what y'all said. Watched a little tape last week when Ray County took on Tullahoma. Their deficiency is that secondary you have there. Kelvin Leon is licking his chops. Name to watch, though, Nick Putman, the defensive end there at Udawal. Can he set the edge, force things back inside on that wing tee on those counters and those reverses? If that's so, you're gonna bring someone right down the A gap to Mr. Landshark himself, Jeremiah Jackson, Alonzo Blackwell, Tyler Black. They're playing right into what Udawal likes to do. Keep everything in front of them and hit them and wear them down. Another thing to note, David Green, their coach, who's the defense coordinator at Udawal, was the head coach at Ray County 2 years ago. The last time the Owls played them, he stepped down, came over to Udawal. He kind of knows what they like to do.
Yeah.
Going to have an insight. I just think Udawal continues to roll. We'll be there on hand at 7 o'clock. All the area games start at 7 o'clock local time because some are playing the Central Time Zone and in our game of the week. But like what we always say, come to Jefferson's, have a bite to eat. They're a big supporter of River City Sports and everything we like to do. Follow us on Twitter, #RCS. Our insiders will be at some of the games. Might even send Ryan out on a little stipend budget to go out to some of these faraway games. Maybe even send him to Oak Ridge. Who knows? But Taylor will be at Notre Dame to see that high-flying offense. Me and Jake will be there at Ray County. The playoffs continue to roll. If you have any further questions, you can email us at rivercsports@gmail. That's also any of our Twitter or Facebook names. We love doing what we have here. Always check out the site, complete coverage. Also, maybe be looking for a redesign coming in the next couple of weeks.